Welcome to Amazing Top 5, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel for more content. Number 5. Trypanosoma brucei is a species of protozoa. It is a blood parasite that infects a slew of animals and occasionally humans too. Its life cycle is rather long, starting off in tsetse flies, which bite humans. Then it enters into the human's lymphatic system, and from there, it transfers into the bloodstream. An infection from this parasite can cause sleeping sickness, which can harm both animals and people and comes in two separate stages of symptoms. The early onset of the infection comes unlike many other diseases, with joint pain, muscle pain, fever, and swollen lymph nodes, while the second stage causes behavioral changes and extreme lethargy as the parasite begins to attack the spine and brain. Ultimately, T. brucei can kill you. It should be noted here that the goal of many of these bloodstream parasites seems to be to render its host compromised without killing it. A dead host isn't as likely to spread the parasite and help complete the life cycle, so rather than killing indiscriminately, it's advantageous for a parasite to simply weaken its host, making it the potential prey of other animals which are necessary for the parasite to reproduce. Number 4. Intestinal bacteria. Yes, the very same intestinal bacteria that you've likely had your entire life and have almost never even thought about is capable of causing some pretty unusual changes in your mental state. Furthermore, these bacteria can play a pretty vital role in very human problems, such as depression and anxiety, it seems. Science has long noted the link between microbiota, the bacteria living in the gut, and animal behavior, mainly in rodents and chimpanzees. But recent human studies have divided people into distinct groups based on the presence of different bacteria in their guts in starkly different amounts to determine the potential impact of intestinal bacteria on human mood. They monitored the subjects with MRI machines as well as other equipment to record the responses of their brains to imagery. One group had more Bacteroides, while the other group had more Prevotella, two genera of bacteria that live in the intestines of humans and are thought to alter mood. When showed images of emotionally charged material, the brains of those in the Prevotella group lit up, indicating that they were responding more intensely. Beyond this, the Prevotella group presented more anxiety and depression, as well as other negative emotions. While this work is far from definitive, it's extremely safe to assume that, like our primate relatives, gut bacteria plays a role in the regulation of the moods of humans as well. Number 3. Rabies. When people think of a disease that alters the minds of animals and people, usually rabies comes to mind, if not Toxoplasma gondii. Rabies is a virus that affects the brain and spine, thus dealing some pretty hefty damage to its host organism before almost always killing it. Rabies lives in the saliva of infected humans and animals, which then transmits to other hosts when one bites the other. Humans who are bitten go through some interesting behavioral changes which help the virus reproduce, just like what happens with other animals. Organisms carrying the rabies virus tend to become hyperaggressive and agitated, and most mammals become more brazen and willing to bite, even becoming unusually brave to do so. Humans can suffer delirium and hallucinations as well as flu-like symptoms at first. But when the disease takes hold, the virus is almost always fatal, with fewer than 10 people reported surviving the clinical stage of rabies in the United States, ever. Even more bizarre is that the rabies virus causes hydrophobia, an extreme fear of water. Seeing as rabies lives in the saliva of the infected, this makes complete sense. Hosts which are afraid of water won't wash the virus out of their mouths, making it more capable of transmission and reproduction. The evolutionary arms race at work. Number 2. Chlorovirus ATCV1. This nasty little virus has long been known to affect the behavior patterns of mice, causing some pretty severe cognitive deficiencies in them, and it is also known to infect humans. There is a lengthy process by which this virus makes a slew of chemical changes which affect the behavior of its host organisms, but in short, it makes people dumb. Yes, it's a stupid virus. Chlorovirus ATCV1 significantly impairs the cognitive abilities of humans who are infected with it, and if that wasn't scary enough of an idea, this virus can live inside you for years. Beyond that, there was a small study on the virus in the United States, which concluded that 44% of the participants, in fact, had the virus, which typically lives in algae but tends to reside in the throat in humans. So there is actually a stupid virus. Who would have thought? Number 1. Influenza. Science is learning new things every day about human behavior, and in today's world of vaccines, how humans respond to them is no exception. It's coming to light that flu vaccines actually increase the likelihood of humans becoming social, that is, the flu vaccine makes humans more interested in socializing. Even more interesting than this, Studies have noted that the flu spreads through our social networks, the real-life ones, not the online ones, and varies depending on which network you're exposed to. Who you hang out with might be a determining factor in whether or not you'll catch one of the most devastating diseases in world history. But beyond just the vaccine, the influenza virus also hijacks the mind of its host subtly, which is likely why people who've just received the vaccine demonstrate the same phenomenon. The flu itself makes people want to be more social, which makes perfect sense, as a socially outgoing host is a perfect way for the virus to spread to other people. While the mechanisms aren't quite clear yet, we do know that people with the flu become more interested in seeking out and engaging with other people, and considering how often parasites and pathogens control the minds of their hosts, it's quite probable that we'll learn the mechanism through which the flu makes us want to fraternize so that it can come out to play. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to the channel.